Isaias Afwerki has ruled Eritrea for over 30 years. No elections, no constitution, and no successor. When he dies, and he will, there is no plan. Now, if you have never been to Asmara, you're missing out. It's a beautiful city. It's this frozen in time Italian Art Deco masterpiece. You can get a very good espresso, walk down palm-lined boulevards, and admire the beautiful buildings. It's gorgeous. And for over 3 decades, Eritrea had exactly one leader, Isaias Afwerki, the crocodile, the survivor. He led an independence war against Ethiopia, won, and has been leading Eritrea since. He's almost 80 years old. He looks good for his age, but Father Time is the one opponent you can't beat. Eventually, Isayas will die. And there is no vice president, there is no constitution. The National Assembly hasn't met in 2 decades, over 20 years. There is no succession plan. When the old man's heart stops, what happens? We are looking at a power vacuum so deep it could suck the oxygen out of the entire Red Sea. To understand who takes over, you have to understand how the machine works right now, or rather, how it doesn't work. Eritrea isn't a state in a traditional sense. It's a guerrilla movement that forgot to stop fighting. Isayas runs the country like a strict platoon commander. He trusts no one. He rotates his generals so they don't build the power base. He shuffles his ministries like a deck of cards. He has spent 30 years dismantling every institution that could possibly survive him. Why? Because if there is an institution, there are rivals. This is brilliant for staying alive. It is catastrophic for legacy. When a president dies, you have a VP. When Isaias dies, you have a pit full of snakes who have been eyeing each other for 30 years. If Isaias drops dead tomorrow, don't expect a democratic election. Expect a nervous huddle of men in fatigues trying to make sure the population doesn't realize the wizard is dead. First, you have General Filipos Woldeyohannes, the chief of staff. He controls the muscle. He's a guy who has been accused of overseeing the forced conscription, the national service, that is effectively indefinite slavery. Filipos isn't a diplomat, he's a hammer. And to him, every problem, including a succession crisis, looks like a nail. If it comes down to who has the most guns, Filipos sits on the Iron Throne. But guns cost money. Enter Hagos Kisha Gebreab. He is the head of economic affairs for the PFDJ, the ruling party. Note that I didn't say Minister of Finance. The actual Minister of Finance is nobody. Hagos Kisha controls the real money, the contraband networks, the mining revenues, the 2% diaspora tax collected from Eritreans abroad. He holds the key to the safe. You can't pay the soldiers without Kisha. Then you have the spook, Abraha Kassa, the head of the National Security Agency. He knows where the bodies are buried because he likely dug the holes. In a police state, information is the only currency more valuable than dollars. And Kassa has the files on everyone. So these men, the gun, the banker, and the spy, Isaias made sure they hated each other so they wouldn't team up against him. But without him, they might be forced into a collective leadership, a military council, a junta. They'll pop on the TV looking solemn, wearing their medals, and tell you they are preserving the revolution. Translation: we're holding this together with duct tape and fear so we don't all hang. There is one unlikely scenario. Rumors have been swirling for years about Abraham Isayas, the son. He's been spotted accompanying his father on diplomatic trips to Saudi Arabia, UAE. He's been kept out of the limelight but close to the center. It's the classic Kim Jong-un play, the grooming of the prince. Now, Isaias has publicly claimed he doesn't want a dynasty. He says Eritrea isn't a monarchy. But dictators, they lie about their intentions constantly. If the old guard, Filipos, Kisha, and the rest feel that they lack legitimacy, they might use the son. They might prop Abraham up as a figurehead, a symbol of continuity, while they loot the treasury in the background. However, Eritrea isn't North Korea. The cult of personality is around Isaias the hero, not Isaias the god. It's not genetics. The generals who bled in the trenches for 30 years fighting Ethiopia might look at this kid and think, why him? If Abraham tries to take the throne without the blessings of the generals, his reign will be measured in minutes, not years. And then we have the scenario that, keeps everybody scared, the collapse. What if the generals don't agree? What if General Filipos wants the chair, but the intelligence chief, Abrahakasa, says no? The military in Eritrea is fractured. It's divided by regional commands. If the center falls apart, those commanders become warlords. You have to remember, Eritrea is like a pressure cooker with a valve welded shut. You have ethnic divisions, the Tigray Highlanders versus the Muslim lowlanders that have been suppressed by the state. You have a diaspora that is wealthy, angry, and divided. If the PFDJ cracks, you don't get a smooth transition, you get a war. You have Ethiopia next door, hungry for access to the sea, led by Abiy Ahmed, who has his own ambitions. And it's unlikely that Ethiopia sits back and does nothing. So, what's the likely scenario? Who's going to rule Eritrea? Well, your guess is as good as mine. I'll see you on the next video.